Hi guys, in this video I'd like to talk to you about something extremely important, namely remembering names. Now most people have problems with remembering names, including myself. I used to have this problem a lot, but then I discovered that there are certain strategies, certain techniques that you can utilize in order to make it easier to remember the other person's name. Now I got many messages from you guys saying that this is one of the biggest problems when it comes to communication. You speak to somebody, you introduce yourself, hi, my name is Jimmy, my name is Josh, and guess what? After 10 seconds, you don't remember the name, and you're wondering why and how you can change it. And next time you speak to somebody, you make a conscious commitment to yourself that you will really try to remember the name, and guess what happens? The same situation, okay? After 10, 15, 20 seconds, you don't remember the name. But fortunately, there are some powerful strategies that you can use straight away in order to make it easier for yourself to remember names. Now, first of all, the biggest problem people have is that when they meet a new person, the moment that person says his or her name, you don't pay attention. You don't fully focus on what they are saying, okay? So the moment they say, my name is Susie, my name is Mike, you don't listen to what they are saying, but instead you are paying attention to how they look like, the environment, but also you are trying to figure out what you will say next. And you see, this is a big mistake because then you totally miss everything. You don't even have a chance to remember the name because you don't hear anything on the first place. So the first tip is that whenever you introduce yourself to somebody, whenever they say their name, make a conscious commitment to yourself that you'll stop thinking about anything else for those few seconds and you will fully focus on what they are saying. Now, the moment they say their name, repeat it in your mind and also repeat it aloud. Now, if it's a very simple name like Mike, John, and so on, you can simply say, oh, Mike, pleasure meeting you, okay? Even if you repeat it one time, you will increase the probability that it's going to be embedded in your mind and you will not forget it later on. Now, if it's a very difficult name, maybe something that you're not sure about how to pronounce it, like Jacqueline, Fabrizio, for example, these sort of names, then you can say something like, oh, pleasure meeting you. By the way, how do you pronounce your name? Is it Fabrizio or Fabricio? And then they're going to repeat their name. Then you will repeat it back just to make sure that you have the right pronunciation. Now, when you do it, you achieve two things. First of all, you know how to pronounce it. So you don't have a weird, awkward situation later on when you want to say their name, but you're thinking, shit, was it Fabrizio or Fabricio? I don't know. Maybe I won't use their name just to be safe. You avoid those situations because you know exactly how to pronounce their name. And secondly, you show them that you really care, that you really want to get their name right. And people love their names, okay? People love their names. Most people forget names. So when you are one of those people who really pay attention, you distinguish yourself from everybody else. You look like a great communicator. You seem more confident and more charismatic. And the third reason is that, of course, when you repeat somebody's name several times, you make it easier for yourself to remember it. Now, when we had a break during filming, one of the members of my movie crew asked me, so, okay, if you have one person, that's pretty simple. But what if you have a group of people, maybe 5 or even 10 people? How can you possibly remember all of those names? Now, the answer is, it is not easy. Of course, it's difficult. And for most people, it's very difficult to get all of those names right. But you see, the problem most people have is that when they meet a group of people, they just go like this. Boom, 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 one after another, okay? They give half a second of attention to each person. So literally, let's say that I walk up to a group of 10 people and I introduce myself. I say something like, hi, my name is Jimmy. John, hey, my name is Jimmy. Oh, I'm Susie. Hey, my name is Jimmy. Boom, just like this. Instead, what I encourage you to do is to take some time. Take some time to show appreciation for every single person. It may take a little bit longer, maybe 5-10 seconds longer, but it's worth it. So when you introduce yourself to a group of people and you do it separately with each person, each individual, take a little bit of time. When you say, my name is Jimmy, and they say, my name is Mike, don't just switch to another person without thinking. Use exactly the same technique you would be using with just one person. So when he says, my name is Mike, say, Mike, pleasure meeting you. And then say it again in your mind when you switch to another person. Hi, my name is Jimmy. My name is Susie. Susie, pleasure meeting you. And if you know somebody who has similar name, try to make connection in your mind. So if you know somebody whose name is Susie, try to make some sort of connection, see some similarities between them. You can even say, oh, by the way, I have a friend who has the same name. Because as a result, you will be able to embed that name in your mind and you'll make it easier for yourself to remember it later. Now, by the way, if you forget somebody's name, the worst thing you can do is to pretend that you actually know it, okay? Now, this happened to me many times in the past. I would speak to somebody, I would introduce myself, they would say their name, and then I would forget that name within a few minutes. And you know what? I would pretend that everything is fine. I would just call them, oh, that's great, man. You know, these sort of things. I would talk to a guy, be like, hey, man, that's a great story. And then by the end of the conversation, I would say, hey, man, it was great talking to you, without really knowing that person's name. And it can get very embarrassing, especially when you know that you will meet that person again, because then you meet them after a few days or after a few weeks. What can you say? You don't know their name, so what can you say? Hey man, what's up? You know, it's pretty crazy, and those situations happen a lot, happen to me. So what I believe in is that the moment you forget somebody's name, simply ask them, okay? There is nothing wrong with asking them. Make it humorous. You can say something like, you know, by the way, you know what? I enjoyed this conversation so much, I totally forgot your name. What's your name? And they will tell you. And you know, the funny thing is that very often when you have a situation like this, you will realize that they forgot your name as well. I have those situations a lot. I mean, now I don't have too many of them because I try to remember names, but in the past I had many of them. When, for example, I say, look, I really enjoyed this conversation so much, I totally forgot your name. What's your name? And then the other person would say, oh, my name is Fabrizio. By the way, actually, I forgot your name as well. And then we start laughing about it. And guess what? It's a bonding experience because you show your human side. Suddenly you become a human being who also forgets things, okay? So you find some commonality, common ground. So you can actually turn it into advantage. Now, one more thing is that when you finish a conversation with somebody, whenever you have an opportunity, pull out your phone and jot their name down with a small description. Now, why would you do it? When you attend networking events, when you attend dinner parties, any gatherings where you meet many people, it's very difficult to remember all of the names. Maybe in the moment you can remember 5 or 10 names, but throughout the night or the evening, you may meet 50, 60, 70 people. It's pretty tough to remember all the names. So what I recommend you to do is that right after the interaction, whenever you have some opportunity, pull out your phone, jot the name down together with a small description about that person. Because later on, when you want to reconnect with them, when you see them somewhere in the room, you want to talk to them again, and you don't remember their name, you simply pull out your phone. You go through the list and you see, okay, so that's Sally. And then you walk up to them and you say, hey Sally, how are you doing? How was your evening? Now, when you take this approach, you accomplish some amazing things. Now, as I said at the beginning, most people forget names, but when you walk up to that person, you say, hey Sally, how are you doing? How was your evening? You show to that person that you remember their name and they are aware of the fact that you met tens of people that evening. How can you possibly remember their name? It shows to them that you really respect them, that you care about that relationship, and also that you are sharp, okay? You are not like everybody else. You totally distinguish yourself. So I hope this video helps you, at least to some extent. Don't take my word for it, try it for yourself, okay? Next time when you meet somebody you've never met before and you listen to their name, pay attention. Use those strategies because I believe that they will help you to become a better communicator.